Hello guys, so today we'll be talking about us, Nintendo fans, okay? Is the phenomenon of Nintendo adults still a thing? There was tons of adults who play Nintendo. There was actually an article that was put out that the average person who plays Nintendo games is in the 20s and 30s. Yeah, the average Nintendo gamer is actually in the 20s and 30s. Of course, it's not gonna be older people. Well, there are probably some people in the 40s that play Nintendo games that grew up with like the NES and stuff, you know, and probably even 50s. But most Nintendo gamers, play, millennials who, I'm not a millennial. I'm just telling you this, I'm Gen Z. So I grew up with the GameCube era of Nintendo, okay? I did not grow up with the N64 and SNES, okay? Let me make that right there clear. I did not grow up with the SNES and N64. Okay, I grew up with the GameCube, the DS, the Wii. I still didn't really like the Wii that much. As well, you know, and think Miyamoto is God. I don't. He is one of the greatest video game developers of all time. He and Sakurai and Kojima, I think, are in the top five biggest game, most influential and important video game developers. Sakurai, of course, you guys gotta respect him for what he does with Smash Bros. Series and also Kirby and even Kick Uprising. Okay, same thing with Miyamoto, Iwata as well. Okay, as well, and also Kojima. I think I think probably one of the greatest non Nintendo developers out there. As this is compared to nowadays developers like Neil Druckmann. Okay, that's one of them, or a lot of these Sweet Baby Inc. developers who ruin every single game they touch. Yeah, I think Banjo-Kazooie was bigger than it was. Well, I didn't grow up in the 90s. Banjo-Kazooie, I knew Banjo-Kazooie existed. I actually had the one game for the 360. Didn't really care too much. But Banjo-Kazooie was not as big as people thought it was. And it's not just Banjo-Kazooie. Another very supposedly iconic IP that I've debunked so many times is iconic is Mega Man. Mega Man is not that big. It is not Capcom's number one IP. If it was Capcom's number one IP, Capcom would say, you know what? We'll continue making Mega Man games. Kind of like they continue making Devil May Cry. Kind of like they continue making, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and Street Fighter. The reason I don't make Mega Man games anymore is because Mega Man is not profitable to Capcom. I know 90s kids will not want to hear this, but that's the reason why Capcom abandoned Mega Man in the 2010s, because people weren't buying Mega Man games. Okay? Think Ocarina of Time should be in contention for greatest game ever made. Well, I'm not really a big fan of Zelda games myself, so yeah. But I do think games like Mario Galaxy and Mario 64, games like Pikmin 1 and 2, obviously Smash Bros. Melee, Animal Crossing, for the GameCube. A lot of the classic games, I think, are in contention for greatest game ever made. But even then, there are other games not being made that are in contention. Minecraft, Halo 3, GTA 5, even though I'm not a big fan of GTA that much. Borderlands 2 is in contention, okay? Dark Souls, even though I never played Dark Souls before. Chrono Trigger, even though I never played Chrono Trigger. There's tons of games that I think that are in contention for greatest game ever made. Not just Ocarina of Time, okay? You could probably think of 30 or 40 games. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That's in the Switch era alone. Kirby and Forgotten Land, Mario Kart 8, / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Even they're the same game, so yeah. Okay, that are in contention. Pikmin 3, Pikmin 4, okay? You have so many games. Persona 5, never played Persona 5, but I know a lot of people consider Persona 5 a really great game. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, okay? So many games you could be in contention. Just because Ocarina of Time is someone's favorite game doesn't mean you have to beat them down for it, okay? Yes, Ocarina of Time, a lot of people like Ocarina of Time. But there's a lot of other games out there that people would also consider the greatest game of all time. Like, Minecraft is one example. Minecraft sold 400 million copies as well, okay? Defended the Wii's hardware representations. Oh, yes. These people who still think graphics are everything, okay? The reason why the Wii sold so well despite not having a great graphics compared to the competition is that the Wii appealed towards everybody. I wish people would realize that the Wii the Wii had the same graphics as the GameCube, but they decided to do something different. Instead of appealing towards hardcore gamers and chasing graphics, Nintendo decided to appeal towards casual gamers. And guess what? It paid out at the end, and the Wii beat the PS3 and 360 in the console race, which means Nintendo won the console wars of that generation. It's the same reason why the Switch and Switch 2 won the console wars without trying. Okay, while the Switch 2 beat the Steam Deck within a month of release. While the Switch is on pace to being the best-selling console of all time. Meanwhile, the PS5, which was originally the fastest-selling console of all time, it may struggle to even pass the PS4. Okay, despite having Stellar Blade. Okay, it feels like these people are everywhere for a while. Well, I don't hate Nintendo or anything, but these people have done irreparable damage to the public image of Nintendo fans. Well, it's unfortunately the fact that millennials and 90s kids have just did a lot of because but you gotta realize that's what they grew up with. Okay, they grew up with the SNES and N64. Okay, I did not grow up in that era. I grew up at the DS, the GameCube, okay, the 360, okay, as well, and I have the Switch 1, and now I have the Switch 2, okay, and I have a PC now. I have, Xbox Series X as well, okay. I just don't have anything PlayStation, okay. That's literally the only thing I don't have is PlayStation, okay, as well, okay. And heck, I may never need to buy another Xbox console again if I can just get a PC, a laptop with high end graphics for a higher price, but you can play PlayStation games too. So now on PC. So yeah, as well. The real people who did irreparable damage to the gaming are people like SWGs. Okay, them whining over fucking boob size and Tekken is kind of hilarious and funny at the same time. Okay, but their games, we can look at Steam all we want. Okay, Steam sucks. Stellar Blade isn't having two great legs like I thought it would. 200,000 players day one because all the people who bought Stellar Blade on the PS5 day one also got it on PC day one. And then the game dropped to like below 10,000 players, below like games like Battlefield 5. By the way, the same people 5 years ago complained about Battlefield 5 having a woman on the cover because how dare women be in video games? But then the same people 6 or 7 years later were saying Stellar Blade is the greatest game ever because Eve has a giant pair of titties. Yeah, I just don't understand the way gaming industry is going. Okay, back in the 5-6 years ago, women shouldn't be in gaming. Now, but we should have female characters in gaming as long as they're sexy. I just don't understand the state of gaming industry as well. Okay, I think SWGs are doing way more damage to the gaming industry than Nintendo fans ever did. Okay, because they're really boycotting games that are very good games. Okay, what I heard of, especially one game that I remember, they fully threw in a landfill because no one bought it. Because guess what, the lady was brown, so they decided to boycott the game. That's just the ridiculous as SWGs. Okay, as well. Okay, they boycotted the game, even though the game was like like Elden Ring. We're gonna boycott that game because the lady doesn't have a big pair of boobs and she is brown. Okay, that's just ridiculous right there. Okay, that's just ridiculous right there. Okay, SWGs are just ridiculous. Okay, the other group of people that are doing harm to the game are gaming industry is the anime community, but they mostly play games like Genshin and Gods of Games. So yeah. We just leave them alone. But they, as long as they don't ruin, normal games as well. And of course, as well here. That's this video here. Goodbye.